I refuse to be the only one without a +1 to Thanksgiving again. So when I overheard Jacob, sweet, calm, easy on the eyes, Jacob, mention he'd be microwaving his holiday dinner, the idea hit me. I'd take him as my +1. In return for a real meal, he'd just have to pretend to be my boyfriend. Easy, right? The only drawback? Jacob worked in another department, so we barely interacted at work. Still, he agreed without hesitation, smiling like it might even be fun. I figured we'd survive the night with minimal awkwardness. That confidence lasted exactly until we walked into my Aunt Carol's line of sight. Aunt Carol, twice his age and 10 times as bold, latched onto Jacob instantly. She complimented his shirt, then his arms, then hinted he should date someone mature. I rolled my eyes, but her constant digs at me were getting to me. Then, just as we sat to eat, her next comment crossed the line, a fat joke. The next thing I knew, I'd launched mashed potatoes across the table. They hit Aunt Carol square in the cheek. Chaos erupted, but thankfully my mom and grandma jumped in before Carol. Standing on her chair like a WWE wrestler, could lunge at me. Our lovely fake date was over. We were sent home early, leftovers in hand. Mortified, I apologized to Jacob in the driveway, ready for him to flee forever. But he just laughed, holding up the container of mashed potatoes like a trophy. Well, he said, you technically still owe me dinner. And before I knew it, we were driving to the river with cold leftovers and 2 spoons. The quiet by the water was a relief after all the chaos. No shouting, no judgment, just twinkling city lights and Jacob warming his hands around his container of stuffing. Honestly, he said between bites, this is way better than microwaving a turkey tray alone. I couldn't help but agree. Somewhere between the cold turkey and pumpkin pie, the mood shifted. Jacob looked at me a little longer than before. You know, he said softly, I'm kind of glad you asked me. And for the first time all night, I let myself imagine this wasn't fake. Not even a little. When he walked me to my door, he paused. Maybe next year, he said with a shy smile, we can make our own Thanksgiving, just us. Warmth fluttered up my chest. A promise, a possibility, something new. Suddenly, being someone's +1 didn't feel borrowed. It felt like a beginning.